Well, hi, friends. Thank you so much for stopping by and joining me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just wish we could just sitting at a table, looking at each other, maybe sharing a cup of coffee or something, but it was so good just to be with you today. Hey, have you ever noticed how that some fast food restaurants, they're making this change in the way that they do things when you place your order? Rather than giving you a number and saying, hey, when we call your number, it'll be all ready. Rather than doing that, they have been taking and asking for your name. When they ask for your name, sometimes it gets spelled correctly, sometimes it doesn't. Now, I resist this huge temptation to go and tell them my name is Joel or Frank or Ken or any other name than what is my own, just to throw confusion, or make up some name like Yosemite, anything to be humorous and make a smile on their face. But I like hearing my name called because I'm not a number. Some restaurants still see you as a number, but I like it when they get personal. Now, it's been funny because sometimes we go into those restaurants and they'll ask for the name and it gets misspelled. Granted, sometimes the name that a parent gives a child is a difficult spelling. That poor child can never find a keychain or anything like that that's got their name spelled correctly on that. I know, I have a child like that. But there's other times that there is names that it looks like they pulled letters out of a Scrabble game and tried to put them together to come up with a name. But then there's times when that cashier at the fast food restaurant types in the name and you don't know what they were thinking, because it does not even come close to what your name is. But your name is very important. Names mean something to us. We like to hear our name. I know of a young man that one of his favorite parts of playing football was when he would hear his name announced over the public address system. It wasn't about what play he had just helped his team compete in or do right. He wanted to be able to hear his name announced. Our name is so important to us. We like it used in a respectful tone. It isn't right when people put you down with your name or tease you with your name, but what is worse is when we do it to ourselves. We call ourselves names. We put ourselves down. And the sad thing is when we put ourselves down, or others put us down, or we put other people down, we're putting down our Creator as well. For the last several weeks, we have had a lot of fun looking at the Lord's Prayer. Maybe you haven't, but I've had a lot of fun, and I'm seeing things that I never saw before. And I want to invite you to join me again and look at this Lord's Prayer. And as we look at the Lord's Prayer, keep names in mind. Names are very important in this passage. Matthew chapter 6. Reading from the New International Version, starting at verse 9. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. What a great scripture. What a great and powerful thing. But please let us take a moment and look at the opening sentence. It's a very important part of this prayer, the opening sentence. It not only tells us where God resides in heaven, but it tells us his name, our Father. Or make it really personal like the psalmist did in Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. How about my Father in heaven? And then he says these words, hallowed be your name. Hallowed. You know, that's the first request of this prayer is hallowed be your name. It's the first request that's made here. Hallowed. Have you ever stopped to think about what that word means? How many times in the last year have you used that word as you wrote a letter to someone or as you were in conversation with someone? How many times have you used the word hallowed? I didn't think it would take you very long to come up with a number. You don't even need to use your fingers because it's not a word that we use in our vocabulary. It's not something we bring up in conversation. Maybe it was a word that you used on a crossword puzzle, but hallow. Hallowed is a verb that technically means to honor as sacred. I refer to this, I prefer this definition when I read, to think of someone as wonderfully different. Our Father, my Father, you are wonderfully different. In this case, God's name, and really God's name is what we think of about God, that helps me to understand Jesus' famous prayer. This very first thing to pray for, even before daily bread, before forgiveness of sin, is to help to think of our Father as a wonderfully different person that loves us with a perfect love. Because if I think of God as different from everything else I love in life, as infinitely better than the best parts of my days, then my soul starts to get stirred up and I get ready to worship Him. I've learned that what I think about God is how I treat others. How we think about God affects everything about us. It also becomes the motivation of working to fulfill the great commandment of loving the Lord our God with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind, with all of our strength, and loving our neighbor as ourselves. I've also learned how I speak to those that are closest to us is a reflection of how we speak to God. And unfortunately, there are some people that we tend to treat those that we love the most the worst. This line, hallowed be your name. If you look in some other translations, such as the Passion Translation, it says, may the glory of your name be the center on which our lives turn. Or the Living Bible, the New Living Bible, may your name be kept holy. That word holy means set apart, kind of like hallowed. Be set apart. And it bothers me when I hear people talk and they use the word holy out of context, inappropriately. Holy, what the neighbor's dog left in my yard. Holy means set apart. We don't set apart what the neighbor's dog left in the yard. We don't save it up or treasure it. So we shouldn't use that word that way, because God is holy. He is set apart. There is none like Him. His name is above all names. He promised that we may even pray in His Son's name. There are many names in the Bible which describe Him. Moses described Him, or the name that God told Moses He was, is Moses said, "Who are you?" God says, "I am." When others say, that's impossible, remember, there is nothing impossible for God. When so Jesus is saying, I am possible. The Message Bible, those words, hallowed be your name, it's reveal who you are. When we recognize who God truly is and how great He is, we see that there is a great dependence upon Him. God is not my co-pilot, He is my pilot. And I don't even have the right to sit in the seat. I have to allow Him to have total access. And when we start to see Him as holy, as we start to see our dependence upon Him, we begin to pray differently. Father, open my eyes to see that you are more beautiful than the sun coming up. You are more faithful than my pet. You are more exciting than the last second basket of a Thunder basketball game. You are more captivating than the little toes of a newborn baby. You are more enjoyable than a perfectly cooked steak. You are more forgiving than a parent. In a million ways, Father, you are more. You are different. You are wonderfully different. See, it's a matter of perspective. One of my favorite writers, a man by the name of Bob Goff, and for years Bob served as a lawyer. He still is licensed to practice law in a number of places. He just practices law in a way that you may not recognize or see. But in his book, Love Does, he talks about doing depositions with his clients. And what he would do is he would sit down with the client and he says, I want you to sit with your palms up. Not with your palms down, not with your palms closed, but your palms up. It makes a difference. And here's why. He says that when you're getting a deposition from a client and their palms are up, they're open, they're transparent. They're willing to tell you what's really going on. But if the palms are closed, the hands are down, they're hiding something. What would it look like if you began to pray with your palms up? What would it look like if you began to see God as the one who is above all things, is in control of all things? I know this for a fact. He loves to hear from His children at any time, day or night. Nothing is too difficult for Him. He knows your struggles and he still cares about you. When you sit with your palms up, get quiet. Stop talking for a while and begin to listen, because he longs to talk to you and tell you that you are loved by him, that he has a purpose for you, that he is not done with you. God is holy and he has time for his children. He is with us as we go through those difficult times. And we can get in this place where we have tunnel vision, where we just see this small little opening. And the problem with that is we lose our peripheral vision, the vision around us, and we can only see that small area ahead of us. Maybe we have a tunnel vision spiritually, where we see the light at the end of the tunnel and we're hoping, okay, when I get to that point, things will be better. Here's the danger. You probably are entering into another tunnel. And so rather than looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, what would happen if you began to look at the light next to you in the tunnel? When you ask God to reveal who he is to you, he will, because he wants you to reveal him to others who are in a dark place in their lives. He is going through the tunnel with you. He's not forcing you through it. He wants to remind you that his presence, he is with you. He wants to, and so what we can do is this: Father, awaken me to your presence. Awaken me to what you are doing in and around me. And we can ask him to refresh our spirit in him. He isn't forcing us through that tunnel. He is teaching us in the tunnel so that we may be an encouragement to others and help light the path for others. So we need to enjoy the journey. It isn't about where you're going or how you get there. It's about who we're taking with us. Don't become so self-focused that you miss the scenery around you and his promise to never leave us nor forsake us. Hey friends, this is Pastor Kevin Klaus, and I hope that soon you could come and join us here in the church. We meet on Sunday mornings at 10:30. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. We just want to see your presence, because we do not want to forsake the assembly of one another. We need to be together in church. And may God continue to bless you and keep you. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching today.